Hi, everyone. I'm so excited to have a special guest here with us today, Donnalynn Riley. I met Donnalynn through a podcast collaborative group, and we connected right away. She has such a beautiful message about choosing joy. And I want to read a little bit about you. Welcome, Donnalynn.
Thank you so much. I'm so excited to be here with you.
Yay! Awesome. Well, let me share a little bit of information about Donna Lynn just to give you a background on her. Donna Lynn helps people to become masters of communication, relationships, and successes. Featured in Fox, ABC, NBC, and CBS, she is on a mission to inspire 42 million women to prioritize their joy so that they can show up as the best version of themselves. Ah, I love that. What a mission.
Yeah, that's right. We're taking everybody with us.
Yes. And how did you pick the number 42 million? Curious about that.
42 million women is roughly the amount of women in the United States. And I feel like we can all go. I mean, I really hope there's more than that and that we can get everybody on the whole planet. But if we could reach everyone in the US, all the women in the US, and we could just change this one thing,
Mm.
then the relationships, internal family relationships, work relationships, the face of the way we exist in the world would shift drastically. And I say it's worth it. Let's do it.
Yes, I get so many chills when you talk. It's just this wave of love and joy. And, before we started our interview, we have this giggle that we both have that I think it is that joy, that laughter, right?
Yeah.
I love it. What a beautiful mission. And I'd love to know, how did you get started on this mission? What made you be like, this is what I'm focusing on now?
Yeah, so to be perfectly honest, I've been a coach for a really long time, but about a year and a half ago, actually almost 2 years ago now, my husband got really sick and got a terrible diagnosis and didn't stay long after the diagnosis, and he passed away. And a few days later, my house sold, and I had no place planned to go. And so there was this giant vortex of like change, just change of not seemingly not of my own making, right? Like these are things that are outside my control. And uh my husband and I were a team. So we were like, we worked together, we played together, we were always together. And so it was a really big shift, and was very fast. And what saved me during that was the techniques that I focus on now. So really that's what changed in me, was that I knew that if I could just one moment at a time shift my focus back to joy, to happiness, to contentment, to satisfaction, to comfort, to all those sort of above the line emotions where our bodies start to participate in our well-being, then I would be okay. I could walk through whatever came next. And it did kind of feel like every day was something more, right? But every minute of every day, I kept bringing it back to that. And the thing that really is important for me about that shift in focus is that it did not make grief go away, right? It doesn't make life not happen. And it doesn't mean that you're not sad or sometimes devastated or, sometimes confused and worried and stressed, right? All of those things, they're going to happen because we're here on the planet. And that's kind of what we do here, right? It's we mix it up with the physical. And but in the in between spaces, instead of going to, I think I'm okay, I can just not cry here, or if you're in a work stress, I think I'm okay, I think I can not yell at people, right? I can dial it back to frustration, right? And if we can instead use those moments to catapult ourselves into that above the line emotional package that we have, then our bodies start to participate and our lives get exponentially better. And so that's the reason for that focus.
Wow. Just I'm like speechless. That's so beautiful. And I love the way you say just above the line. You know, it's like how can you feel a little bit better than you do right now? Like you said, we're still going to have the stressors, we're still going to have disappointment, grief, loss, devastation. Those things are going to happen. But I would love to hear more about what tools can people use if they are in a place of devastation, or like you, they lose their partner, their best friend, their teammate. How can they feel a little bit better than how they do right now if they are far from that joy line?
Yeah, so I think that the first thing that people can do is a mindset switch, right? Because it's just all internal. We don't need anything, right? Nobody has to drink more water or do anything, right? Okay. Although do that too.
I love that.
um, but the first thing is to remind yourself that it is okay to be happy, that our natural state is joy, that we came here to feel just as much, if not more, joy and happiness and wonder and awe and fun as we feel those other emotions, right? So far down it goes, that's how far up it can go and more. And I think that a lot of times we get into those moments and we feel like it's not going to get fixed unless I focus on it 24/7. And it's not going to be okay if I don't watch the train coming toward me so that I can avoid it. But often, actually, you know what? I'm going to tell you the story. I'd forgotten about this, but I have a dear friend who was visiting my house, and there was a, not where I live now, but there was a traffic circle, and from my house you had to kind of get right on the traffic circle, and on this circle people would zoom up to the edge of it because it was kind of a hill, and that's just the feeling of it. And he got onto that circle, and somebody was zooming up, and they always stop, but somebody was zooming up to that to get on, and he thought, oh, they're going to hit me.
Mm.
And they didn't hit him, but he didn't stay on the circle because he did this,
Mm.
right? He looked to the oncoming traffic instead of where he was going. And so he ended up on a curb, axle was gone, the whole bit, right? Totaled the car. And I think we do that to ourselves. And I think that that's really the space that we have for joy is in those moments where we're actually moving in the direction that we're going as opposed to all that oncoming traffic, right?
Wow, that is such a good explanation and story of exactly what we do, and that reminds me of comparison. Like, what does she think of what I'm doing? What is he doing? And when we do that distraction, that's taking us off of where we're going, like you said, and that's when you wreck the car or whatever happens in your life. Wow, that's such a good example. I love that. And going back to some kind of tools, what do you recommend, journaling, or like how do you raise that vibration to get closer to joy?
To be honest, my favorite tool is a hand movement.
Mm.
I think you can journal. If there's something you love, do it, right? Like, no question. But if you're feeling anxiety, if you're feeling frustration, if you're feeling the energy in your body and you're able to raise your awareness to your body, then if you do this specific hand movement, you can just shuttle some of that energy away from you because it kind of becomes a feedback loop and it's very hard to get rid of. We get stuck in that progressive going in a direction we don't want. So the first thing I would do is take your hand, fold in your pinky and your ring finger, and fold in your thumb on top of those two, like you're holding them down into the center of your palm, and then put your other two fingers together. So they're pointing, in this example, straight up, but we're actually going to point them straight down by your side. One thing I love about this technique is that it can be done anywhere. I first discovered it on a retail sales floor. I like that's where I used it. And
Wow.
nobody looks at your hands. Nobody cares. Nobody's looking, right? And particularly in the Zoom world that we're in now, you can nobody can even see your hands. So this is a great way to first of all to activate your nervous system with the center of your palm and your fingernails there. You want to put a little pressure there, but also to just start to remind yourself to let go of the energy and
Mm.
to allow yourself to kind of come back to something neutral. And from there, you use that mind trick where you say to yourself, what could be a little bit better than this? What can I feel a little bit better than this? What is just a slightly better thought than what I'm having? And quite honestly, when we're in it and we say, oh, that person is trying to sabotage me, or whatever it is that's going on in your head, I will often stop at that thought. So it came. So what? Who cares? It came. And then say, huh, I wonder if there's something that would feel just a little better about that if I said it. So this is not like, I love that person. They are a beautiful soul underneath all that hateful spite that I see, right? This is really literally like, what could I think that's just a little bit better? And
Mm.
walk that walk
That's
while you're
so
doing it. While you're
empowering.
doing
Yeah, I love that. That's so empowering because, often, like you said, we think someone's coming in to sabotage us. And I just had this happen recently with someone that I felt like I was in a great mood. I was feeling good. I was feeling pretty. And then they say this thing, and I'm thinking, why are they trying to take me off my center? Why can't I just be in this joy and have them witness me in my joy? And I started to want to move away physically from this person because I was sitting near them. And I just felt this, resentment, towards this person for what seemed like trying to pull me off of my center. And in that moment, what could I say to myself to feel a little bit better than, oh, they're trying to sabotage my good feelings or they're trying to steal my joy?
Well, the first thing that I would say to myself in that situation is a reminder of how we physical beings work. So what happens? We had a study on this actually. There's been a scientific study on it where they studied what happens when people speak to each other. And you don't have to be physically present. You can be through a telephone and things like that. And what happens is that our brain waves start to synchronize.
Mm.
And so when you're on that wonderful high flying disc that you're on, and you're like, woo, I got my carpet and I'm up here and I have this great life, right?
Yeah.
And someone else is not. And they don't have to be too far from you, but they might be like even below the line. They might not be hopeful because at hopeful they might come to your train, right? But at frustration, they're not putting up with you, right? And so the question at that moment becomes, who's going to win the fight,
Mm.
right? Because
Yeah.
that's what's going on. Somebody's going to synchronize to the other one.
Yeah.
So rather than allow yourself to synchronize to something you don't want to, which is what happens when we're in a mood, right?
Mhm.
When we're in a mood that's temporary, we got ourselves into a great place. We maybe can stay there for 10 minutes or an hour or something, but it's not our absolute set point. We're not just waking up in the morning singing with the birds and doing all right. We're not in that sort of what was her name?
Like
Snow
Snow
White,
White.
right?
Yes, that's what I
Yeah,
thought of. Snow
exactly.
White, like all the
That's what I
birds
thought of.
going around.
Exactly. So we're not Snow White. That's
Yeah.
not our set point, right?
Too bad.
But exactly, we'll keep working on it.
Yeah.
But we go to where Snow White is, and then we go around the people who are used to us in our set point, and maybe our
Mm.
set point is reasonable, is thoughtful, right? So it's not a bad set point.
Right.
It's kind of lovely to be around. People find us easy. Maybe our set point is peacefulness, right? Where we just stay calm no matter what. Whatever that is that people are used to, that's what they want from you. And
Mm.
so when
Mm.
you're in that really high flying place, you're less stable than whatever
Mm.
that set point is that you're
Mm.
in 90% of your time. So raising that set point over time through emotional entrainment really is what I teach.
Mhm.
And in that, I have a program, a membership program that where you actually can do it over and over and over again, right? So as you practice that,
Mhm.
then you get into a place where that set point rises just a little, and everybody around you gets used to that. And
Mm.
some people go away, some people go away. Sometimes the neighbor stops calling you. You know what I mean?
And then what about those
But
people that like family, that they're
that we can't
just
get rid of them.
you can't get rid of them. They're gonna be there, and you're like, we and I do wonder that as a question. I don't know, what you might say about this, but with our family, do you believe we choose our family, and why do they trigger us so much, or why can they, or why do we let them? What is
Well,
that?
I think there's a couple of things going on here. So the first thing I will say is that my relationship with my late husband changed drastically the day I turned to him and said, "We treat complete strangers better than we treat each other. I
Mm.
want a new relationship. Let
Oh,
me find a new relationship with you." So I think that it's important to constantly be open to how can we make our relationships better. Now, I have a client whose husband is completely uninterested in having a different relationship with her,
yeah.
and she has found happiness in her life and kept her relationship with her husband, and there is overlap, and they have a relationship that he's happy with and that fulfills her needs in that way, right?
Mhm.
So yes, she has a lot of friends outside of that relationship, right? She's got a full life that fills these other places that she wants to have. So
Mhm.
there's a lot of ways that you can negotiate with your life in order to have everything that you want. I mean, that's
Right.
the underlying belief, right? Is that we
Right.
don't really think we can have it all.
Right.
Right? We go
Yeah.
like, well, the cost of being married is that I have to compromise, and right? But these are all sort of lies we tell ourselves when we misinterpret how the world really works and
Yeah.
how much control we really have
Yeah, and
over
I
ours.
think sometimes we put too much stock into certain people, like our partner or our
Mm.
best friend or our children. We expect more from them. And they're people too, with, ups and downs and experiencing everything in between. And I think, sometimes just letting people off the hook, and, sometimes maybe they're having a tough day, or whatever is going on internally within them, having that compassion. And like I like to say is, when you get offended, it's because you're making it about you. What if it has nothing to do with you and you're making it about you? So how can you kind of detach from that, over identification with how they're acting or what they're saying? Yeah, so good.
I think that's absolutely true, and so true in terms of the empaths of the world, right? The people who are sensitive, which
Hmm.
many, many, many of us who are
Hmm.
reaching for a little, some feeling a little bit better, are sensitive because we raised our awareness, right? And so when you're empathic, or you're really sensitive to what's happening around you energetically and emotionally, then finding ways to create space that's just yours and have good energetic boundaries,
Hmm.
super important, super
Yeah.
important.
And how can people learn more about, your programs, or what do you have going on that can help people reach for those higher emotions like joy?
Sure, yeah. So I have a quiz that you can take at roadmaptomorejoy.com. And it is super fun, 2-minute quiz, and it will tell you in the end where you are and some things that you can do to help yourself get to a better place. And so that's roadmaptomorejoy.com, super fun. And it's really a great place to start, right? Because we want to raise awareness.
Mhm.
But you can always, always find me and all my social media channels and all the things at donnalynn.blog as
Awesome.
well.
And I will put the links in the description box below so you can, follow Donnalynn and learn more from her. This has been such an eye-opening interview, and, really gave me some great things to think about. And I know our audience is really going to enjoy, listening to this as well. So thank you so much for being here, Donnalynn.
Thank you so much, Julie. I really think the work you're doing is so important in the world, and all my energy is behind you on it.
Thank you so much, sister. Likewise. Thanks, everybody, for being here, and we will see you again soon. Do you want to be seen as more of a leader in your industry and bring in monthly reoccurring revenue at the same time? If so, you'll want to check out Julie's VIP Coaching Day. Julie has hosted 8 domestic and international retreats, has hosted a podcast, a summit, has written an international best-selling book, and is now a paid speaker and wants to help you to do the same. To learn more about how she can support you, go to her website at juliegetzinger.com to set up a call today.